Hello friends, my name is Hunny Walia. I'm your friend and host today. At Hunny Walia Shows, we introduce you to a lot of successful personalities who have achieved height and success in their relative fields. Today, I would like to introduce you to Reena Yost. She's from Remax Select Commercial. Welcome to our show, Reena.
Hey, Harry, thanks for having me, and I appreciate your time today.
You're most welcome. Reena, tell our viewers something about yourself. What are you doing and how long you have been into commercial business?
Sure. So I grew up in Edmonton. I've been here, born and raised my whole life. In 2006, that's when I completed my real estate license. I was 21 years old at the time, so quite young, but I was obviously very ambitious and excited to get into the industry. I also was pregnant at that time, so I started my first year I was pregnant, had my daughter, Kayla, who's now 13. So it was a little bit interesting to get into the business like that, but it was during the boom, so it was quite fun to get in at that time as well. I've always worked with investors since the beginning, mostly residential in the beginning, and after a few years they either moved to commercial investments, and I have dealt with a lot more commercial investors up until this point now. So It's been just over 14 years.
And how long have you been associated with the Remax Select Commercials?
So I actually was with Remax, I want to say, how long was like 8 years ago.
8 years? Okay.
I believe for about 4.5 years. After that, I moved over to Coldwell Banker for about 2 years, commercial.
Okay.
And then I recently moved back to Remax about 1.5 years ago now.
And how's the commercial business in Alberta like nowadays, especially at the time of COVID-19?
It's still good. I think that investors still invest, and that saying, the rich get richer. So even during hard times, they're still going to be buying and looking for investments. And I believe that with the government programs put in place, especially with all the help with the small businesses and stuff, that we haven't seen as big of a hit as people were thinking. So yeah, it's definitely helped.
And Reena, people like to know a lot about investments nowadays, because some people have money, they have saved the money for investment, and some people are looking to buy small investments as well as big investment, depends on individual pockets, right? So how do you help those people in investment business especially?
So my job as a realtor is basically to help my clients obviously figure out what they're looking for based on their criteria. Then I'll provide them information on either properties or businesses. There are some businesses and properties that are not even available to the public, so I have access to assortment of those as well. So after they find something that they want to pursue, then I help them with writing the offer and negotiating on their behalf, and also providing them referrals to other professionals that they will need to complete their transaction. So whether that be an accountant, lawyer, appraiser, mortgage professional.
Definitely. No, that's wonderful. And there are so many businesses available in the market right now. So what do you think, how do you help the people in terms of when they are buying the business? Do you give their suggestion if somebody is a layman who comes to you and asks you I wanted to invest in the business, right? So can you guide them, and how do you help them actually?
So just specific to businesses, I definitely will help them look for what they're looking for. Everybody has different ideas. There's lots of different business options out there, and depending on the price point and everything else, then that it will depend on that. And then when it comes down to actually looking into the financials, that's when they will definitely need to seek the advice of their accountant, and if they don't have one already, I'll definitely help them out with that, and or a lawyer as well. So
yeah, because financing is a very important thing. There are so many things involved in financing. When it's some people have money but they don't know how to invest it. So is there a specific way do you help them to find out a property and then tell them to invest it, or what's the right way, or what's the right procedure of helping actually?
With that, there's so many different investments, so it depends on what they want. If they want to be, if they're going to physically work in the business, then the business, there's lots of businesses that they can look at. If they want something that's going to bring in income, but they don't have to do a lot with that, then they're going to be looking at more of a an investment like a retail shopping center, something that has a tenant already in place that they just have to, and they can also, if there's a management company managing that, they don't have to spend a lot of time on that, and it'll bring in the income as
Absolutely.
well as for them.
So see, my viewers, there are so many things which are involved in especially buying an investment property. Definitely Reena is one of the experts. So if you have any questions, you can definitely call Reena directly. We'll share her number by the end of our show, as well as it will be in the bottom of our show. As well as Reena, when we talk about investment property, why do you think these investment properties are resold or are on sale? Like, do you think like these customers, like some properties are in losses or profit, or somebody has already built a property to resell it? So how do you think like these things come in picture? Because let's say I'm an investor, I want to buy a property. So now why the other person is selling a property? Can you give that guidance to our viewers as well?
Yeah, for sure. That's a good question.
Yeah.
And I think for a business, a lot of people will look for a business if they're still wanting to work and spend the time. They of course can hire people to do the job for them, but a lot of times when you're buying a business, you're going to spend some time working on that business. And then a building, like I said, is more for somebody that wants to bring in income and not spend as much time or work. So there could be situations where somebody buys a business to get the business going and then sell it at a profit. And the same thing with the building. Like there's ways that you can structure the leases to bring in more value for that and have that resold in 5 to 10 years. But I do find with more like retail strip malls, when people purchase those, they usually hold on to them longer because it's more of a retirement thing. And some people will only sell it if they need to, if they want to get the equity out so that they can buy a bigger building.
So are the people coming, the investors who are coming to you, are they coming for small investments or the bigger investments also? Because definitely the small investment starts from 300,000, it might go to 1 million to 2 million if you're talking about the strip malls. Like what kind of customers are you dealing with in that ways?
All different. I mean, I have strip malls from $1 million to $30 million, and above sometimes. So it really just it depends on the person, how seasoned they are as an investor, if they already have a portfolio or not. What they have to invest.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot that plays a part, and how comfortable they are with the amount they're investing. So.
And do you have any examples of the listed properties you have?
Strip malls, for example, I do have a few that are not available to the public. Do have one I can kind of speak about that comes to my mind. It's listed just over $1 million, and it has 3 tenants. It has fully leased. It has a triple net lease in place, which means that the tenants are paying everything above the lease rate, so they're paying the property taxes or a portion of the maintenance fees and management costs. And it also does have the ability to, for the area anyways, the city has accepted other buildings to have a second story built on top, so that's something that somebody can look into for extra development later on in the future or right away, and that they could either build condos on top or office space. So
that's wonderful. So viewers, see, she already has some strip mall. If somebody is there who is interested in buying a strip mall, Reena has already listed such a property. Definitely you can give a call to her and inquire more about that property. And Reena, as well, there so many things are going on, like when we talk about banking, talking about balance sheet. Do you help those people in that also? Because some businesses are in profits, and people show that this has been profit for last 3 years, 4 years. So do you, when they come to you, how do you guide them in the terms of like when they're buying a property and they want to know about the balance sheet and profit and loss statements?
Yeah, so with that, like I can give a little bit of advice that from my knowledge, but that is really a question for an accountant. So I'd refer them to one if they don't have one already, and they would look into that a little bit further with them.
That's wonderful. And when it comes to banking, how much do you think that financing is required? How much percentage of amount the person should have so that they can be easily qualified for the loan by the bank?
Well, it depends on what they're looking to purchase. In every case, it's a case-by-case basis, but normally with a business, it's going to be a lot more because there's not a physical structure. So it's not, if they default on the payments, the bank doesn't have any recourse to go and take something from them. Investors ask, of course, assets involved in the business, but normally it's about 50% or more that they want to see down for a business. And then for a building, it's the rule of thumb, I think, is about 30%. And that is, again, case-by-case basis. It can be lower or higher just depending on the situation and the person. So
absolutely. See, my friends, so what's happening is like, so if you're buying a business, definitely you need at least 50%, and definitely there should be some funds in hand so that you can run, like say 3 to 4 months, so that you can run your business properly as well. So definitely so many questions have been answered by Reena, and that's a wonderful thing, that if you are looking for some kind of investment, definitely contact Reena directly. So friends, this show, as I've told you, is totally on commercial business and commercial market, how's it going right now. So Reena, do you have any statistics about the market going on right now?
Yeah, I do. I did bring some courtesy of the network. So just for the commercial real estate sales in Edmonton, April of last year, there was about 29 total sales, and the volume amount of that was 86.5 million. 12 were land and 17 were buildings.
Okay.
April of this year, which is really in the middle of the COVID times, there was 43 total sales. So higher sales. The volume amount was 74.3 million, and 17 of those were land and 26 were buildings. So that's still, pretty
good. Yeah, pretty
absolutely accurate. So pretty much the same as last year. A little bit down with the volume, but more.
But do you think the
sales.
market is growing right now, based on that, like the stats, perfect stats which you have shared with our viewers? So what do you think, is the market started growing after this situation has happened? We have seen a down market for last 6 months. Is it growing now? Has it started up, or how's it going right now?
Well, I think this is a good indicator. That was pretty much right in the COVID, where a lot of people were worried, and they had fear and stuff. Now I think people are, like, the fear is a lot less. So I don't think that it's gonna affect us like how people were thinking. And like I mentioned before, with all the government programs, it's definitely helped a lot. There's been a lot of support that way, small businesses. And just everybody actually has had a lot of support with that, I believe. So yeah, I think that was definitely a good indicator, since we're not too far off from last year in April. So
yeah, absolutely. And one important thing which Reena has shared with us when when we started the show, she mentioned about her daughter. How's she doing, and what is she doing nowadays?
Well, I mean, I think it's definitely different for the kids, and her being 13, teenager. It's definitely been a different time, but everybody's kind of adjusting. I really believe technology is amazing. If we didn't have all the technology we have today, we couldn't be doing online school. They couldn't be hanging out with their friends through FaceTime and all those other social media platforms. So that's definitely a blessing, and
definitely this is a time of social media, and people are on social media. Kids have grown, they are growing fast, and I think they are more advanced than what we are. We have been doing in our times, right?
Yeah.
So a message from an expert for you, like during this time, as well as about the commercial market.
I just want to say, well, first of all, thank you again for having me here today. And yeah, if anybody has any questions about anything that we've discussed here today, I would love to hear from you. Any questions that you want answered for maybe our next time that I'm on the show, that would be great. Just let me know as well. And yeah, I just hope everybody stays safe out there. So.
Definitely, friends. So if you have any questions, please do share with us. Subscribe our channel. We will be delighted to answer your questions, as well as at Hunny Walia Shows, we are expanding. We are bringing so many talented people on our show. Definitely, it will be a great honor to get Reena back on our show if you share your questions with us. Thank you very much, Reena, for coming out of our show.
Thank you.